Hey guys, this is Tatiana from Fresh Green Tea, and today I'm going to talk about how I'm able to travel so much while also working a 9 to 5. So, as of today, I do work for a corporate office. I work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and so I've had people literally ask me, like, do you work? Is your job hiring? Like, how are you able to travel? How can you afford this? Like, what do you do? So, it's not a secret. I don't have this crazy secret recipe on how I'm able to do what I do. What I can say is that I prioritize my life. So to me, travel is a priority. Just like some people put their kids and their dogs and their new watches or their upgraded technology, or getting their hair done. Like some people put those things first. That's a priority. Maybe you're like a makeup blogger and you really invest a lot of your money into these great products. Well, I invest all my money, most of my money, into traveling. So, and when I say my money, I mean like I'm a regular, mediocre ass, middle class person. Today, I'm still early in my career, okay? So I'm not saying that's where I'll always be, but we're talking about the here and the now, and this year, how I've been able to travel to, this year, in 2018, I've been to Virginia, New York, Pennsylvania, Washington, well, let's say Washington, D.C., but also Washington State, to Oregon. I was corrected. I don't know why I said Oregon for like the longest until I went there, and some lady on the bus was like, "It's Oregon." I'm like, I'm sorry. Also, California. I've been to Northern California really briefly, and I went to Hawaii this year, and I'm also going to Florida. Well, I went to Florida this month. God, what day is it? This month, and I'm also going for Christmas because that's where my family is. And I'm going to Thailand in 3 weeks. So this sounds so crazy for some basic desk job girl to be just like doing all this crazy traveling, but I save all my money for this type of stuff. I find travel hacks. Anyway, let me make this more structured for you. So the answer is I do human resources for a corporate office at a desk all day. And the first thing that I would recommend if you want to make traveling your hobby and you aren't going to have like the flexibility or like this newfound income over the next few months, check your vacation policy. It sounds super basic, but I have literally created a spreadsheet that I've provided to my boss if she asks me like any kind of questions, like, are you sure you're going to have the time off to go here, and here this year? And I'm like, well, yes. According to the policy, I earn 4.44 hours per pay period if you want to combine my paid time off in addition to my vacation time and yada yada yada, blue. And so do the math. Like, it sounds super like easy to do the math, but when you start thinking about how the time is accumulated and calculated, and then you have to subtract the time you're taking plus the time you're earning, and every company is completely different. So maybe you work for a company where you're like, you get 10 days off this year, and they drop those 10 days into your bucket from the beginning of your employment, or maybe some companies, they drop that in January, and then a lot of companies, you just earn hours per paycheck. So look into how that's all done. On behalf of HR, I say call your local HR department and have that conversation and look into the policy, because like I said, that's where I start. I literally know how every hour of my time is going to be spent this year. And people are like, well, what if you're sick? What if there's an emergency? Whatever. I mean, you have to use your discretion. I don't have any other responsibilities on purpose. I've chosen not to have responsibilities such as children or pets. And so, and I also take as much care of my body as I possibly can. I take my multivitamins, I take echinacea. I'm all about like immune boosting, like foods, because I want to have an indestructible immune system, okay? Because I don't want to take a sick day. I want to be somewhere else on vacation. And not even, and vacation doesn't need to be like abroad. Vacation could mean like doing something really cool like in your own state, but having the time and the freedom to explore that. So anyway, I can go on and on. Know your vacation policy. And plan ahead. Plan ahead. It's like the best advice that I could possibly give you. Sorry, I heard the AC came on and my roommate's door creaked and it kind of freaked me out. But plan your trips in advance. I told myself that I want to go on one international trip per year, and then maybe at least 2 national, local, like, you know, in the United States trips every year. So that's 3 trips at least that I'll be taking. And then I like to keep into consideration that I want to go home to Florida every summer and Christmas. So that's 3 trips plus 2 trips plus an international trip, plus I have a friend that had a baby that I want to visit. And I mean, I think it through. Like, I literally, again, I'm an organizer. I mean, that's probably why I'm an analyst by day, because I create spreadsheets for stuff. Like, what is January to December going to look like? What's the best time of year to visit? Which place that I want to go to? What's it going to cost me? How long is it going to take me to afford to buy the ticket to go there? Because once you get the ticket, like, you're going. So I just like to plan out my year in advance, because that gives you time to save the money. Because this goes back to being a budget traveler and what you can do as, you know, you're seeing the same paycheck every 2 weeks, unless you're getting a bonus, you're on commission or something. If I'm getting X amount of dollars every month, but I want to spend this much next June, like, how much should I be saving and putting away every paycheck until then in order to be able to afford it? So the best thing I can say is to budget and plan. So also, when you do take these trips, this is part of the planning piece as well, and this goes, again, look into your time off policy. Do you get federal holidays off? Do you get federal holidays off, and when do they fall? You know, do they fall on a Monday or a Friday? And can you do you get paid to have those days off? So take trips during those holidays, because that's an additional day that you don't have to use a PTO day. Take extended weekends. If some of the states you want to go to are a drive away or like a quick flight, maybe like a 3-hour flight or something, take a weekend trip. Do not underestimate the power of like a 2-day vacation. I mean, I just named all these states I've been to. A lot of those were weekend trips, you know, like visiting a friend, and it wasn't like a big deal, and I didn't have to take any time off for it, really. And another cool thing that some companies have is a volunteer policy. So I haven't really utilized this to its max with my company, but again, like, coming from my HR, like, I see people that have these benefits that don't realize that they have benefits. So one thing that you can do is look into see if there's a volunteer policy where if you have like a certain special interest that you want to be able to give back because of this cause, and you want a few days off to do that, see if your company like pays for you to have a certain amount of time to volunteer. My company gives you 40 hours a year to volunteer for a 501c3, and there's stipulations, you know, like you can't use more than 8 hours a month. But I mean, that's a whole day of work, you know. Those are ways that you can kind of squeeze in things that you're interested in. This is like probably one of the major ones. These are all major, honestly, but this one bought me a free trip to Thailand. use your travel rewards points. Like, hello, I sound like a hypocrite because I didn't even start doing this until January of this year. Like, my traveling has changed last year to this year, and how I do it, how I approach it is like a whole different level. So I've always been like, I don't want debt, you know, I want to stay away from credit cards. I'm one to like cut up my credit card and not use it, but you just have to be strategic about it. Don't get crazy with the credit card, because I'm not trying to get you into debt. I'm trying to help you save money. So listen closely. Get you the Chase Sapphire preferred credit card. It is the best for traveling, and the second best that I've learned based off my own personal research is the travel rewards with Bank of America. Now, the Chase has an annual fee, but the benefits far surpass it's like $100 a year fee. And I don't like paying fees or have subscriptions to anything, but if I can get free flights out of this, like, it really, to me, it like completely balances out. And then the Bank of America card doesn't have an annual fee, but I don't think you get as many perks, but that might be a better option for you. So look into those two, and I am going to have another post another day with more detail about that. The point is, if only use this credit card for things that you're already spending money on. If you're like, I already plan to visit my family in Florida twice a year, I already plan on paying these monthly bills, I already plan on getting my nails done every 2 weeks, you know, like, these are things you're already spending money on, earn points for it. If you have ladies night every Friday, then go to the restaurant, use your card, earn double points. You're already buying that bottle of wine anyways. And so a trick that I've pulled a few times is, if I'm out with a group, or let's say I'm at like a work, like, hey, me and 2 coworkers are gonna go get lunch, I'm like, I'll go pick it up, or I'll pay the bill, just Venmo me, or if you have cash, I'll take the cash, or whatever, so that big chunk is on my card, double points. And sometimes if it's someone I know travels, I'll be like, hey, do you earn rewards on your card? If not, like, I'll pay with my card so I can earn. I'll tell them why sometimes, but creative. Get those points, because when you use the platform for Chase to book your flights, like, let's say you have 30,000 points and you want to go book your flight, if you can redeem those points for cash, or you can, which is like $300, it's not 30,000, I wish, but if you redeem that through the Chase platform, you earn 25% more on. It's like, if you have $100 in rewards, it's $125 towards your ticket. So, I mean, and this, mind you, this is money that you're getting back from spending on crap you already were spending. So, with that being said, like, if you normally pay for this stuff with your debit card, just remember to transfer that money over, you know, or make sure you're regularly paying off your credit card. I'm not saying to rack it up. I'm saying to just move that money around, but don't spend any more than you already are, but just start earning something for it. To wrap this up, there's 2 more things that I just want to mention. Look up cheap places to visit. Like, you don't have, I am not here to impress anybody. I'm here to live like the most fun, exciting, fulfilling life. Like, I want to be able to, like, sleep at night, like, at peace, because, like, I'm doing things that makes me happy. I'm not here to go on vacations to, like, impress Snapchat. Like, I could care less. So look up cheap places to live. Like, not live, to visit. You don't have to, like, go to Aruba and, like, stay in this, like, floating friggin' tiki thing because, like, that's what's trending and Beyonce does it. Like, put me in a tent on the beach in Hawaii and I will have a blast. Just Google some stuff. Like, Southeast Asia is cheap. South America is cheap. Go visit freaking Mexico. Go to Vietnam and Cambodia, for example. Cambodia sounds so out of reach, and you might not know, like, what the hell's in Cambodia, but But I had a friend mention, she's like, hey, I want to go see the temples in Cambodia. I'm like, oh, it's a whole, like, the Angkor Wat temples are there. It's a really cool place, and it's super cheap. Mind you, they're cheap because these are, like, countries that are not as privileged as us, and that's why I think it's important when you travel to these places not to, like, be this asshole tourist. Like, I travel places to really dive into the culture and have an open mind, so that's something to consider. But I go for the experience, to check out, like, the history, to check out the food, to check out the views. Like, that's what I want to see, is views. Like, place me on the side of a mountain or a cliff or something where, like, I can just look out and, like, feel the energy of the earth. Like, that stuff makes you feel rich, okay? Like, you don't have to impress anybody. It's about what makes you feel good. And so it's okay to travel to cheap places, and it's okay to stay in an Airbnb. For me personally, like, this is where it comes down to choose what kind of traveler that you are, because you might be the kind of traveler that, like, is super leisurely, that you just want to find a nice beach and lounge all day, and that is so cool. I mean, if you have a stressful job, that's like the bee's knees. But for someone like me, like, I'm high energy, like, let's be doing stuff all day long. Like, so for me, if I'm going somewhere, I want to meet everybody. I want to go to all the places. I want to do as many activities as I can, obviously within my budget. So for me, like, sleeping is not important at all. So where I rest my head at night is going to be, like, the cheapest thing on my budget. But some people think in the reverse. So again, consider what kind of traveler you are, what you're trying to gain from your adventures, and consider that. But my tip, if you are on a budget, and this is how I talk to my friend about it, we call it the Cardi B budget, the Beyonce budget, or the Meghan Markle budget. And we traveled the West Coast on a Cardi B budget, feeling like Meghan Markle, okay? So you can do it. And if you want to put it into the lens of someone else, if someone else looks at my social media, they might think that I'm on, like, a Meghan Markle budget. I mean, that's why people ask me if I work, and I'm like, bro, I'm cheap, but I do so much. So, you know, the last thing that I'll say is I look up hostels, and hostels aren't what they used to be. You know, people think of hostels as, like, these dangerous, like, bed bug type dirt floor shacks that the hippies used to go to back in the day. And I mean, that could be true. However, it is 2018, and they've kind of changed that. I stayed in some bomb hostels that were very well kept, nicer than some, like, hotels I've seen, and they're cheaper, and you're gonna be amongst other travelers, so you're gonna find stuff to do. I've, like, went off and spent a day hanging out with some people that I've met in the hostel, because they travel, and these are people that are like-minded. So don't sleep on hostels or Airbnb, because those are some awesome ways to travel. You can look up reviews and look up pictures and ratings and things on different websites. The one that I use for hostels is hostelworld.com. So try that. Also, another website I want to recommend is called budgetyourtrip.com. And, like, this tells you what the cost of living is in a country or city that you're going to. It'll let you know if you're visiting, like, what your daily budget should be. You're gonna need, like, $60 a day. You're gonna need $200 a day when you're visiting this place. This really helps you with your budgeting, and it even gives you the option to put if you're a budget traveler, a moderate traveler, or like a fancy traveler, and so that way it'll let you know what you need to be saving up. So to me, like, once you have a budget, you have an idea, that can kind of put you in this bracket of, like, okay, these are the things that I can afford to do. Research, plan, and you can travel as a full-time 9-to-5 employee. So Do it! This is Tatiana from Fresh Green Tea.